level on the side of Cloud9. You look at Complexity, and Z-Freak isn't even level 6 yet on the Wisp at the very beginning of 5.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Obviously, it would increase their gank opportunities, but he's been doing pretty well. He's been a part of 5 kills. They're going to find Misery here. First one, Misery, rare mistake here. Yeah. Almost always reacts in time, but that one just a bit too late. If he would have landed that Earth Spike, he would have almost for sure lived. So, yeah. But that was a hard reaction time, honestly. The fact that he didn't is like, wow, he is human. Cool.
And it's hard with Warcry as well. It gives you that extra little movement speed that kind of plays with your normal reaction time in a scenario like that. So now Bone heads mid. Looks like he'll just go for Power Treads, Eul Scepter here on the Queen of Pain. Not too surprising. Nice reset tool to buy yourself a little bit of time and also set up for your team. I think fairly common on Quap, who is not in the mid or safe lane role.
Yeah. It's a bit interesting watching Ziz play Sven because they've been doing it in such a gank way. A lot of Svens in the past will go for pretty early great cleave max, but he's all about Warcry and the stun damage on Stormhammer, which gank
up top. Yeah, call down connects on Moon as well as Fly. Eternal Envy falls to Laguna Blade, but finger back the other way makes it a 1-for-1. Good exchange for Complexity so far, as now it's Cloud9 on the back foot. Stampede deployed by Moon Meander. Misery caught by the Stormbolt. He'll be locked into place and brought down. Complexity finding the advantage in this go-around.
Man, they're properly punishing C9 there, and Eternal Envy getting completely solo-killed by the support. Like, that can't happen for C9, because it's just going to turn Lina into a core.
Oh, Moon uses the hook stop to try and make it out. Bone 7 has the ulti, does the mental math, and decides, nope, not worth that long cooldown here. Great news for Moon, though. He's the big breadwinner out of that fight. 1,600 gold now, getting very close to that Blink Dagger.
And once he grabs that, the ganks that they've already been scraping by completely reasonably are going to be even more dangerous. And even heroes like Quap are going to actually really have to worry about whether or not they die. Because the stun setup is so there for Complexity, and they're making space for Shadow Fiend as well. He's the top CS now. Can you believe that? And that's the strength of the hero. You get wrecked in your lane, you go into the jungle, you get some last hits, and all of a sudden you catch up and farm. And
that's incredible, actually. Not only did he not farm well in mid, but he was also shut down. He was killed multiple times, and here he's on his way to, well, I wanted to say decently timed Mac. I guess all things considered, it'll be decently timed. Has the buckler, still a ways off completing the rest of it. Viper, does he have a recipe on the courier? Yep, he sure does. That's a completed mechanism.
So he's like a good 1,500 gold ahead of Shadow Fiend in terms of his items, so a bit of advantage there. And they've got the mech now, so they need to take a fight. But now things get a little tough because Complexity, tracking their movements is harder because they've got relocate. So no matter where the Sven and the Wisp are, you always have to worry about them showing up somewhere else. It could just be a simple 2-man rotation from Complexity, and all of a sudden it turns into a 4-man rotation. So it's harder to track their movements at this point, and it's going to be up to them to initiate instead, and that's what they're going to try here.
Eul Scepter now up on the Queen of Pain, and Eternal Envy still not too much in his inventory. Just sitting on Power Treads, Aquila Wand.
Ooh, they spot the retreat with the Observer Ward, so it seems clear that they got spotted. I like the wards from C9 here. Very, very deep. They'll see where Shadow Fiend is, if he's farming, all that good stuff.
Yeah, things slowing down a little bit here. A little surprised to see Cloud9 not just 5-manning around this mech while they have the advantage, knowing the Shadow Fiend's a little bit behind. I guess they don't really need it to push this bottom tier 1 tower. As you mentioned, they saw the retreat, so they'll feel pretty comfortable. And well, they really do have a lot of deep wards down, even on the plateau here, if you look at all the dire vision.
Took them 2 centuries, but they did find the Observer Ward from Complexity. It was a bit of an older one, so not a huge loss. And Complexity is able to take a tier 1 top, which is very good for them. Shadow Fiend is almost at his mech now. We do see a charge, though.
Charge coming onto Wisp. There he is. Z-Freak in the jungle, and there's going to be some follow-up from Bone 7. Yep, Wisp just evaporates.
Yeah, and that Observer Ward completely paying off there. If it's on anybody else first, Wisp can heal and try to keep them alive, but it's on Wisp. If it's on Wisp first, then the burst damage is there and there's no way he can survive. So very tough at this stage to survive the initiation from them. They might initiate.
Oh, another double damage here on Bone 7. He's been pretty lucky with those, but they jump right onto Fata. Can they actually save him? Oh, the mech still goes off. They burned everything to bring down Fata. They get the kill, but do they have the resources left to continue this fight? In comes Big Daddy charging from down below. Bone 7 trying to do what damage he can. Swindle will pump fake the ulti. But in the end, Complexity will retreat and reset things a little bit here. They'll mech up as now Z-Freak joins the party. They want to keep this siege going and at the very least secure a tier 1 tower.
They know that they're all in the trees. The Observer Ward spotted them rotate over. Warcry's up, call down.
Call down comes in. Swindlemelon's getting aggressive here. Moon bleeds forward, goes in onto Misery. They'll hit him with the double edge, and the Requiem finishes him off. They'll try to focus Z-Freak, but they just don't have the damage. They turn on Envy. Now Big Daddy as well. It's a bloodbath with Complexity coming out big, a 1-for-4 as they secure the tier 1 tower to boot.
Queen of Pain was able to clean up on the other side, but it's unlikely that Centaur will be able to catch him. But they're super happy with that fight, getting so many kills. They got the tower afterwards. They lost the Wisp again, but it's not that big of a deal. He doesn't have boots yet, but he can get by with that. He's already got Wand, Urn, and the Bottle, the 3 items that he needs to regen himself and to regen his cores as well. So absolutely great trade for Complexity there, and they are totally in this game and playing better than C9 in my opinion.
Yeah. It seems like it so far. Just the recovery from Swindle that we've already mentioned a couple times just speaks to how Complexity has handled themselves under the pressure and now turned things around. Look at Eternal Envy's net worth right now. He's the lowest of the cores and actually behind the Radiant support in that of the Lina, played by Fly. He is so broke at the moment, very atypical of where you would expect Envy's gyrocopter to be 16 minutes in. Still just power treads Aquila.
But that was the aggressive trialing, and Complexity has enough burst damage and enough stuns that if he does get out of position, he just simply dies. And it's a bit different than a lot of the other drafts we've been seeing, because we've been seeing Dazzles and so many Dazzles, and the team fights are always like, keep one person alive. And Wisp does accomplish that, but he's also very offensive, and a lot more offensive than Dazzle is. So it's kind of an interesting way to play Complexity, turning things back onto the old meta a little. It's like, oh yeah, Wisp is still good. Maybe we should draft that.
Yeah.
And they're making it work.
And picking it up early, no less. This wasn't one of those 4th pick, 5th pick Wisps where Cloud9 didn't have a chance to react. This was in that early phase. Cloud9 could have gone for, something like the Disruptor or some of those other classic Wisp counters, and they chose to try and take this straight up. Now the Sven is getting a little bit scary here, Purge. He'll take out a stack of Ancients. He's got his Mask of Madness. Only 1 point in Great Cleave, but BKB is on the horizon now, just a recipe away.
That skill is actually pretty amazing with 1 skill point. I mean, it's only 20%, but a second is equivalent to a Battle Fury. And as you get up to the 4th level, 65%, that's just amazing AoE damage coming against the opponents, and will be very useful against heroes like Viper. And there it is, Warcry's now maxed out, so 20 armor to his team, 8 seconds on a 14-second cooldown, and a Yasha for everybody. So the movement speed advantage here is just going to make these supports really hard to kill. Wisp, 2 armor. Lina, 4 armor. How about 24 and 22? How do you kill that? It's pretty much limited to magic, which C9 has, but their right clicks are going to do so much less in these fights.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Moon Meander here in the top lane, just stationed in the trees for now, knows that there could be some trickery afoot. Yeah, here we go. He misses it. They relocate in as well, but Bone 7, he's on the run. He's got a haste rune that he was storing in the bottle. Looks like Complexity might not have double-checked what was in that inventory before committing to that one.
I mean, it looked like such a reliable gank there for Complexity. The Moon was waiting in the trees. He said, all right, anybody comes top, I blink stun. Fight going on mid.
Oh, here we go. Bone 7 goes in, but it's Swindle Melons that gets initiated on. What a terrible time for a DC. Oh, no. Looks like Z-Freak's having some PC issues. That is really unfortunate.
So the stun was Yule's dodged by Queen of Pain, but that actually might be a big hurt there. That's 175 mana to dodge that stun. He's only got 336 right now.
Yeah, he can't ult unless he eats his stick charges.
He's going to have maximum 1 ult. He'll get 140 mana from Bottle and maybe, we'll assume, a full stick. So he's going to get about 300 more. This could hurt him, at least in the burst opportunity. Big Daddy No-Tail just got stunned by Light Strike Array. Swindle Melons has taken some damage, but the rest of Cloud9 is pretty far away. The main damage dealer is Fada, and he's the Viper by the jungle. So I feel like this isn't very good position for C9.
No, Envy's not even there. It's a 5v4. Envy's back at the base without the gold for a TP.
Where's the other heroes? I feel like I'm missing. Oh, Misery's over here. He doesn't have a blink yet either, so I feel like Big Daddy No-Tail's just going to get blown up instantly here. Maybe even Light Strike Arrayed by Fly, and since Quap's mana is limited, I know Complexity aren't able to check this. They were the ones that paused the game, so they aren't able to click on enemy heroes like we can see, but C9 has the advantage of being able to do that to their opponents, and I feel like they're just immediately going to run as soon as they really look at things and say, all of their heroes are here. There's no way Swindle Melons is going to die in this first bit of time, because Wisp is going to save him, and we need to turn tail and run, because like you said, Envy won't get here in time, and Viper's already out of position.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You cut your losses, let Big Daddy die. Misery about faces and turns the other way. So does Fata. They still have the mech available, and they hope that Z-Freak will be able to blink as he comes back down from the Yules. Looks like the blink will come up about half a second, maybe a full second after the Yules expires. So he'll have a short window to try and make it out if he doesn't get stunned.
Really unfortunate crash, though. Very few PC issues at the LAN as a whole.
That's a pretty cool. Well, it's also, I think that's the Stormbolt that's making all those little extra frillies around her. So it's kind of this cool. She's in Yules, but she also has this
It was an
aura of what have you around her.
It was a great dodge, and he had to do it because there's so many stuns that it's scary. But looking at it now, it was maybe a little unnecessary and cost him probably too much mana. Because if he could have thrown the ulti, it still wasn't going to get a kill, I don't think. The positioning is just too weak. But I want to talk more about that gank that happened top, because I saw it coming and it looked really good by Complexity. Like, Moon is just sitting in trees. Any person they saw, blink, stun, relocate. And that's such a good combo. You need the setup, the stun duration to prepare for the relocate to come in. And the other heroes people do this with, it's like Nyx Assassin. But Centaur fills a lot of other roles, and it's a bit easier of a stun. So, but I think Bone 7 was ready for that, or he just happened to pop his haste rune because he blinked forward offensively into the creep wave. So that makes me think that he was baiting it because when Quap uses blink, you're like, oh, obviously go on Quap.
Yeah.
But immediately after, popped the haste and ran away. So I think that was just really sick play from Bone 7 there.
It seemed like it. At least it was on his mind that could be coming his way. So let's look at the grass while we wait here. And man, it's been a topsy-turvy game already. Cloud9 started off with a pretty big advantage, but Complexity's come back now to hold on to about a 2K gold and experience edge. Nothing too crazy, as it is tied up 12-12 in hero kills, but it just feels like Complexity are moving around a little more effectively. We talked about how far behind Envy is, but it's difficult. I mean, now he's gone for the Helm of the Dominator, pretty core item on Gyrocopter. It will allow him some recovery mechanism. Now you can dominate a creep, stack the Ancient so your supports can go in other places, find some efficiency there. It gives you a little more sustainability in fights, opens up some jungle possibilities for him. But it is a slow road to recovery here.
They just had very different ganks than what you normally see from a hard carry. And obviously they did start in the offlane, so usually the playstyle is different. But all of their ganks were so clean. The one they really needed was the Viper, and they rotated the carry and the Lina. And I like that it wasn't just the supports. They turned it from like a maybe gank into a if the stun lands, he dies, because Sven's damage is actually pretty good. So, and they just kept rotating him. And his CS looks terrible if that's 78.
There we go. The countdown. Does Big Daddy just play Sacrificial Lamb? He takes the Laguna Blade, and yeah, the rest of Cloud9 just hightailed out of there. Blink back from the Queen of Pain, and good prediction there, Purge. Transpired